Well, my name is Isis Brantley, known as Naturally Isis, and I'm an advocate for children and an activist for economic liberty and the right to work for yourself. I became interested in braiding in college. It wasn't an idea that I had as a young girl. I met my friend who became my husband, and he introduced me to culture. I would braid my hair with beads, and we would go out and people would see it and they began to like it. So I just kind of creeped up on it like accidentally, but it became the love of my life. In 1997, I was arrested by 7 cops. Actually, that was the first time I ever came out and said, I'm going to have a storefront and I'm going to open up. Because I had been in my home since 1980 and I had been practicing in the community already. But in 1997, the cops came in unannounced, 7 cops, 2 plainclothes cops, and then the other ones in uniform, and they pretty much said that I was under arrest for braiding, and I thought it was a joke. I didn't believe them. And then the lady pulled her badge out and said, I am an undercover cop, you are going to jail. So they put the handcuffs on, the customers watched, everybody was looking like this can't be happening, but it was, and they carted me off like a common criminal. I had to fight for 20 years. The first, from 97 to 2007, was 10 years. I had to fight for the right to practice my art. It was just a back and forth thing. I had to get a lawyer. You know, that was extra money out of me and my 5 children's mouths. I had to become homeless. That was something that I didn't even think about. Me and my babies didn't have a place to go. They put an injunction on the building so I couldn't go back there and braid. So pretty much the community rallied around, and there were certain people in the community that saw me as an icon in the community who had gained the reputation of the Queen of Braids in the community that came to my rescue. So basically, I was out of more money. I had to figure out, how am I gonna cheat inside the house and braid in my kitchen? Am I gonna keep trying to do Jackie's hair and Johnny's hair so that I can feed my babies? And pretty much when I got my lawyer said, go back to the shop. So I went back to the shop, and the state of Texas countersued, and then we sued them again, and then that went on for 10 years. After they grandfathered me in 2007, they said, you're grandfathered. We're not going to teach you braiding. You already know ancestral braiding, but you can't teach anyone. You cannot teach the next generation hair braiding. And I said, oh, okay, now another 10-year battle. I had to go get another lawyer, which I got IJA, Institute for Justice, to represent me in my new case and that new case was, I had to become a barber to be able to teach the art of braiding to the next generation. I had to own a barbering school. I had to get 10 chairs and shampoo bowls and all the stuff that I don't really need. I was just in the corner of my own little 300 square foot shop in the hood, the disenfranchised community, feeding my community and doing just fine, teaching and braiding. So the lawyer came in and he fought the case for me for 10 years more. And finally in 2015, everybody was able to eat. For others, it was definitely worth it. For my children, it was definitely worth it. For the community, just to see people able to be born who they are and not have to alter that, it was worth it. And just to see people happy right now, you know, They weren't able to feed their families. They had to hide. And they had all this, political regime against them, saying, you can't do this, you can't do that. Yeah, it was worth it. Because when it boils down to it, I will soon be an elder, and the next generation has to take the banner. So I am passing the baton down. And yes, this is more than just for my satisfaction. It's for the upliftment of our community. And when we talk about, doing things to make a difference, this is why I did it. You can never take African culture away from a people whose roots are very strong. Just because the leaves and the branches are over in different parts of the world, the roots are very strong. And you have people that really believe that African hair and the hair care of African culture was very significant to its people. You're talking about a history that's so strong. Even if we didn't speak the same language, if you look at our hair, it's a universal language. You don't have to speak the language. You look at cornrows, you'll know the language. You look at locks, you'll know the language. So hair in the African diaspora, the African culture is very, very, very significant. When you break the molecular structure down in African curl pattern, you diminish the elasticity altogether. There's nothing left. You destroy the hydrogen bonds, many of the bonds. You also are putting chemicals that seep into the brain cells. Every time we use sodium hydroxide, we lose 50 to 100 brain cells. You're talking about the FDA regulating these chemicals that are found in Ajax and household cleansers, Pine Sol. They have a certain amount that's in those particular products, but the full strength of the sodium hydroxide lie on the shelves in these beauty supply places and in these grocery stores and community stores, where we as healthy women from the beginning, just with our natural hair, healthy babies from the beginning with their unaltered hair, are using these chemicals to make ourselves look better and feel like we're doing the right thing to get this job or that job. Natural to us is the same as what you pollute your bloodstream with. So are you gonna put the chemicals inside your body? Because if you put it on your skin, you're definitely putting it inside of your bodies. I'm talking about chemicals that you'll never see another ethnicity group use on their baby girls other than Black Americans and Africans and the diaspora, because this is what we were taught we needed to blend in and make ourselves look better. That's not natural. I would want something that is more natural, something that's not going to harm the follicles and not going to harm the skin. A lot of women, when they wear the hair, they break out on the forehead. And this is back in the day, like 20 years ago, we would know what hair fibers to use and what hair fiber we were not using, because we could tell how the scalp would be affected by the fiber, and it must be the chemicals that's in the fiber. And I'm in love with Easy Braid because this hair feels good to my skin and it resembles our hair when it's pressed. But if this was full of chemicals, it wouldn't be able to sit right here on my face. So I would look for a product that is more natural, that doesn't have chemicals. Even with human hair fiber, sometimes you have to soak it in apple cider vinegar. Sometimes you have to not buy it because of the bugs that are traveling with it and all the chemicals and the fiberglass and all the things that are in it. So the same thing with the products that we're using. They're getting better and better and better. And that's why I like the Easy Braid. I want to join them. I want to be a partner with them. I want to travel and do the same thing for less fortunate people with no voice. I want to be that voice. I appreciate you. I'm doing everything to stop crying, okay? You can reach me through Instagram, Naturally Isis, Facebook, Isis Brantley, and Naturally Isis. Email, naturallyisis.com, or you can reach me through my website, naturallyisis.com, and the email is naturallyisis@yahoo.com. I thank you, and I thank y'all. Moving forward, we're keeping it moving. Let's keep it moving. Yes.